Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a while, but we are back to the Hard Nine podcast. Today is April 29th. The Cardinals are coming off taking two of three, just cannot complete those sweeps, but from the Mets, who are still, by the way, pond scum, and open up a three-game set in Motown tonight as we sit 4.5 games out of first place in the NL Central.
Yeah, it's been an eventful, I don't know what, 10 days? Yeah, around 10 days since we've been on here.
Yeah,
You get swept by the Brewers, which was awful. Then you have that electrifying walk-off homer from Nolan Gorman. Then you lose 14-1 the next game. Then you win the series, and then you win a series where you really should have swept after yesterday having two strikes on Harrison Bader. And who would have thought, I've watched Harrison Bader take maybe 2,000 at bats in my life. And anyone that throws him an 0-2 strike should get sent out of the league because
yeah.
he's gonna chase. But whatever, either way, they've won two series in a row. That's good news against solid teams. I think what I'm starting to realize is they are right in the middle of this National League with everyone other than the Braves and the Dodgers. Like they are right there with everybody else, I
I mean,
think.
the Phillies are 19-10. I would argue that
Yeah,
they're.
true. Yes, but they should have won the series they played against the Phillies if Victor Scott didn't drop a fly ball. So I
I
think
get
they're
it.
right there with everybody. I do. Like, I don't think there's anyone. I mean, the Phillies, yeah, that's the one team that you can say is in that. I think you look at it, Braves and Dodgers are in a tier of their own. And then I think you can probably put the Phillies in their own tier right below those two. And then it's everybody else. I think that's fair just because the Phillies pitching has been so good. But I don't know if that's sustainable. We'll see. Either way, I think they're right in the mix with everybody else. Like I think I
Um,
saw that you have like two awful teams with the Rockies and the Marlins who've
Marlins.
just been awful. I called that by the way. And then you go to the
There it goes.
Padres. The Padres, I think, are 3 games under 500, and they're the third worst record in the National League. Like this National League is gonna be tight this year, and that's kind of why dropping the games the way the Cardinals have is frustrating because they're gonna need those games. But I think they're right where we thought they were gonna be. They're just getting there in a different way.
First of all, the 10-day absence is legitimately on me. I will
Yeah,
I well I gave Caleb fair warning to find someone to sit in for
it was
me.
not fair warning. It was 12 hours.
That's fair warning in my mind. He did not do so. So thank
I
you for
tried.
listening. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that follow button on Apple and Spotify. We greatly appreciate you all. Listen, we had really good friends in. Got to go see the Soul Rebels. Saw Kermit Ruffins. Sat fifth row at the Pels playoff game that we beat the Canes. Have not won a playoff game since then down here. However, that was an epic experience. And then this week was JazzFest, which we have not stopped for 4 days. So it's nice to sit down. I'm off on a Monday. That never happens. It's raining here, and I'm not leaving the crib.
Yeah.
So that is on me. We will not have these absences again, even if Caleb has to do these on his own.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. I all I've been doing while you've been out there having fun. I've been watching playoff basketball and hockey, and it's been a really enjoyable experience for me.
The
Except for the
NBA
Pelicans
playoffs outside of the Pelicans have been electric. Absolutely
and
electric.
Edwards,
Also,
dude.
gotta love watching Durant, Booker, and Bradley
Bradley
Beal, who,
Beal.
by the way, does not play basketball games. He just signs contracts. Gone.
Hey, he
Love it.
played. Yeah, dude. I there's and now have you seen how much drama's coming out of Phoenix right now
Shocker.
about Frank Vogel and their GM and everything?
Yeah.
Like, dude, everywhere KD, I love KD as a player. Like, he's awesome to watch. He got me into basketball. Honestly, it was him. Like, he everywhere he goes, he's becoming James Harden. And there's a problem
Is
everywhere he goes.
is it set up for the next round? This will be our last NBA talk, and then we'll move back into the Cardinals. But is it set up? Because I did not look at the standings, and I think it is. It's set up for Minnesota, Denver in the next round, right?
I think so. Yeah.
In my opinion, the only team in the NBA equipped to take down the Denver Nuggets is Minnesota Timberwolves, and
With
it
Rudy Gobert and
and
Karl Anthony
Towns and
Towns
Edwards and the rest of the way their guards are playing right now. They're
and Edwards
electric.
is and Edwards is a top five player in basketball.
He
I really
he's
believe that.
I think he's becoming the face of the NBA right now, is what you're seeing. I think that's what
If
you're
they win a
seeing, and I love it.
championship, I'll agree.
Yeah, like I love it. So anyway, we'll move on. But yeah, if you're not watching the NBA and the NHL, along with the Cardinals and some other Major League Baseball that's going on right now, it's electric out there in the sports world.
Yeah.
Electric.
And NHL's been great too, man.
You came off the NFL draft where they had like 12.5 million viewers. Like that's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So sports are in a nice little spot now. Even though later in the show I do kind of want to talk about how Rob Manfred is just fucking up this league, but we will talk about that later. Let's get back to the Cardinals. So we don't have to go through every game. We don't have to go through every series. You all watched them all. We're not going to rehash all that. To me, the biggest news of the 10 days we were off was not the wins and the losses. It was Jordan Walker being sent down to AAA back to Memphis. I
I
know there
forgot
are a
about
lot.
that.
I know there are a lot of mixed feelings on that. I don't really personally even know where I stand on that yet because I haven't even been able to process what's going on as far as where I feel. So I'd like to get your take because I know obviously massive Jordan Walker fan, massive belief that he probably should still be on this roster. So I really do kind of want to get your input on this, on what you think about Jordan Walker being sent back to Memphis.
I think he was bad, really bad. So if you want to go down this route and say he was bad, so he should be sent down, I don't think he was sent down for performance. I don't think he was sent down because they're like, he's not good enough to be a Major League Baseball player. There's a difference between like sending down Zach Thompson, I think, and sending down Jordan Walker. Like Zach Thompson just clearly wasn't good enough right now. I think for Walker, it was he's not good enough and we need him to be good. Like you need him to get right. If Jordan Walker's not going to play every day, while right now it feels like every day is a playoff game for this team because they can't win by more than 2 or 3 runs, then I get it. I don't like it, but more so because I don't like how they handled him this season. They were taking him out of games all the time. And I'm okay with defensive substitutions. Fine, that makes sense to me. But they were pinch hitting Burleson for him and stuff. And it's just like, dude, is this your guy or not? Are you going to commit to him or not? Like, who do you commit to? Why is this organization so afraid to commit to people? They don't commit to trading people, and they don't commit to playing people. If Jordan Walker is your future, why the hell in the first week of the season are we ever pinch hitting for him? Ever. It should never happen. And then he goes down this slump. And I'm not saying that's the reason it happened, but my God, give the kid a vote of confidence. And then you send him down. And I don't like it because I think Jordan Walker right now in this organization should be where, not where Julio Rodriguez is because he's not Julio Rodriguez, but like where J Rod was his first year, where you let the kid struggle a bit. Like, I don't like that. And I also don't like that they seem to panic so often when things start to go a little sideways that now he's not playing for 2 or 3 days. Why? Why is he not? We already know this guy's an above league average hitter. We've seen it. So why are we now acting like, okay, he's bad for 2 weeks, so he can't play? What are we talking about here? Is it only because it's the beginning of the season? Like if he was great for the first month and then he has 3 bad weeks, are you sitting him down then? No. So you're sitting him down solely because of the timing of his struggles? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it seemed like he's doing the exact same thing he did at the beginning of last year with all the balls being hit on the ground. They've documented his swing looks a little bit different. The way he can't get to a ball on the outside corner to save his life. But that to me feels like things that hitting coaches and tees and hitting into the nets are things that you can really work on every day before the game
Dude.
and after the game. So
Yeah.
like I said, I never really had the time to process it because, like I said, we've been on the go for almost 2 weeks now. However, like looking back, I don't know the answer. I will say it again. Professional sports are a results oriented business, and he was
Mhm.
not putting out results. So there is that fine
That's not
line
how
of
baseball works, though.
I I understand that, but when you are in the crunch that this organization is in, because of their own doing, by the way, please
Right.
understand that. But they are in a massive crunch. Now, now the argument can be made, are you better with Michael Ciani out there every day or Jordan Walker? No shot at Michael Ciani. I'm just
Michael
saying
Ciani, by the way, has been very productive.
he has been. That's
In
why
every way
I'm
but hitting a baseball.
correct.
Um,
He's not going to hit.
no, I do want to say that this seems like it's 2 years in a row where Jordan Walker sent down because of the team. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he wasn't performing this year, and that's true. But if Goldie and Arenado were doing their job, is he sent down? No.
That's a very good question.
He's allowed to
Yeah,
he's allowed to struggle. Like, right? Like
yeah.
same with Gorman. Like Gorman wouldn't be sitting every once in a while if Goldie and Arenado were doing what they're paid to do, which is perform, and they're not. We can talk about Arenado's batting average and all that. Those guys aren't hitting for power. So you go know what it's exposing the bottom of your lineup. It's exposing Michael Ciani. It's exposing Jordan Walker because when they don't come through, it feels like they're costing you games. You shouldn't rely on those guys to win you games right now. You should rely on the guys in the middle of your order to win you games. And there's just one thing that I was thinking the other day. The middle of this order doesn't feel any more dangerous than the bottom of it. And that is an
No.
issue no matter where you are. When you go to the Braves, I get Acuna struggling right now. But when you get to Austin Riley, Ozzy Albies, and Matt Olson, you're holding your breath every pitch. There's no way that when they
And
get Wilson's been great, but when you get to Wilson, Goldie, and Nolan right now, no one's holding their breath. There's no way.
Marcelo Zuna is going off again
Yeah, he is.
for the
Yeah,
Atlanta
he
Braves.
is.
It I don't understand. No, I will say it again. I don't understand Nolan Arenado. I just don't.
He's been just
He
bad.
is the least productive superstar I've ever seen. I've ever seen in baseball ever.
Well, this
The,
year and last year,
no,
yeah.
if you look at his St. Louis
And he's not a
Cardinal numbers
superstar
with
then.
the that's okay, but we keep treating him like one. Everybody
Because
treats
he
him
was
like
for
one.
1 year. I mean, here's the thing. Like, he wasn't his first year. We all kind of gave him a little. He was good. He was good his first year. It wasn't great. We all gave him a little bit of a pass because same thing happened with Goldie, and then he figured it out, right? Moving to a different team, like we're seeing it with Wilson, he looks a lot more comfortable. Second year, great. Last year, bad. Back injury, whatever. Here's something that's really concerning to me about Nolan. And no one really talked about this other than Gould, who wrote about it. He told Gould that one of the reasons why he's having this awkward two-hand finish is because his back injury has caused him to have bad posture, and he's a guy that relies on really good posture when he's in the box, as everyone does. So that's very concerning to me that
Yeah.
he's not getting his posture in check. Like, your posture and back problems don't get better at the age of 32 upwards. So if that's true, and I believe I'll take him at his word, that it's truly a posture and back issue where he's just out of sync everywhere and he's not getting the spot he wants to with his upper body, then that's a massive problem moving forward. Like, that's the thing where it's like, if you're the Cardinals and he, maybe he gets hot, but you can see that the trend line here is he's not going to be the guy that you're paying $35 million to, like that you thought you would be. We're getting to a spot here, man, where it's getting in, like, do you move him even if you're in a good place? Because you're just handcuffing yourself. Like, I don't want to get to that spot, but this doesn't seem like a problem that's fixable to me.
It's now a massive issue, and I'll say it now. If I were to tell you at the end of April that we had two guys who had above a 700, only two guys on the entire team who have in fact, 685, above a 685 OPS.
No one's not
There's
about
no
700
way.
anymore.
There's no way you would have guessed it was Contreras and Wynn. No way.
I would have guessed Contreras. Well, Wynn's above an 800, isn't he?
He is. Those two are above 800. But then you drop down to Nolan at 680. Brendan Donovan's down to 682. He's not doing much of anything.
He's getting it
driving the
going
ball
lately, though.
And Lars Nootbaar continue. I mean, I'm sorry, he hasn't done a
Give
thing.
him a break, dude. He's coming back from a
How many times can
He's
I
coming
give
back from a broken rib. Once
Okay.
again, if the middle of your order is doing its job, he's not getting exposed.
Okay, we're going down the line now, and we are a month in, and I understand it's been whatever.
Well, he's
it's
not
April.
a month in, though.
Okay. Gorman 635, Goldschmidt 590. Like, this is not a major league offense that scares anyone. Like, literally nobody.
No, and
here's the other thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think the other thing that's got to be scary to fans, us included, is that our top three pitchers have been so good. I'm not including Michaelis in the top three. He's garbage right now. And so is Steven Matz.
He was really good this weekend.
Okay, fine. He has a 6-something ERA. So whatever.
Okay. Small sample size, but yeah.
It's not, but it's no longer a small sample size for Miles.
It is, though. Like, a month is always 5 years of Miles pitchers. It's not. Like, he's been an all-star
either way. That's sort of where I was going with my point. The regression to the mean of your top three, outside of probably Sonny, are going to come down a little bit. They're going to come down too. Now, you might get a little upwards tick from Miles. I have no clue to even know what Steven Matz is. I have no idea what he is.
He throws tonight. We'll see.
So, like, I have no expectations for him.
I think this is what he is. He's inconsistent.
My concern is if that happens and this offense stays at a plateau, this team is in for a terrible run coming up.
Well, here's the thing. I don't care what the pitching does. If the offense is like this, they're not doing anything this year.
Correct.
Like, I don't care. Even if you have great pitching, you're not doing anything with an offense like this. And here's the thing. It's been better the last week. It has. They won a series against Arizona, which is a good team. They came back in 2 of those games to win. That's good. And they look pretty good, honestly, on Friday and Saturday in New York. Now, yesterday was awful. Yesterday can't happen. Like, you're going to lose games. You're going to get out pitched. It's going to happen. But here's the thing. Like, you're facing Jose Quintana, who I love. Okay, hand up. I love him. He throws 28 pitches in the first inning. How the hell does that guy go 8 innings? What is the approach? What is the approach? I'm not a blame the hitting coach guy, but good Lord, Turner Wood, what are you bringing? What are you bringing? Because our star prospect just got sent down because you couldn't make an adjustment at the big league level with him, and now our team 25 pitches. I am standing here screaming at the TV to just take a fucking pitch. Like, it's okay if you're driving the ball on the first pitch that you're getting. We have Nolan Arenado taking half check swings on the first pitch and popping out. We have Wilson Contreras not knowing how many outs there are. I don't understand why there seems to be like no cohesive approach here ever. Like, here's the thing that bothers me. If Lance Lynn throws 25 pitches in an inning, that next inning, the Mets are going to make him work again because they know that means you're getting into a bullpen that's been used a lot. Why don't the Cardinals do these small things that like are just like playing smart baseball? Like it's dumb baseball to get a guy like Quintana, who normally only goes 5 innings anyway. It's how he's always been. That how do you get him to 28 pitches in the first and then let him roll through 7 more innings?
It is
How does that
perplexing.
happen?
This is, by the way, this is the second week in a row that you have said, I'm not a blame the hitting coach guy, but. And we all know that when you say
Yeah,
but,
like
you eliminate that first phrase.
it's because at some point, dude, like your job is to be a hitting coach. Help them hit.
I agree. I
Like if
agree.
you're not
And again,
helping them, then go.
but do you act? Here's my question. Like, I honestly, my question is, these guys are also professional major leaguers. They should also
Yeah,
know the approach, and also they played baseball their entire lives. How do you not know? Okay, let's
I
get his
agree.
pitch count up. So I get that you can blame Turner Ward, and we also don't know that they're. That's the other thing. When do we start to say this group right now is just not very good hitting offensively? They're just not
I just
good.
don't. Well, my thing is, I just don't believe that. Like, I just don't believe that they're not good hitters because I've seen them do it, and a lot of them are young guys that should be getting better. And if they're not getting better, then that's an organizational problem because we see it all over the league where these guys get better. And you know who that starts with? The guy who's in the dugout and game playing with them every day. At some point, dude, I'm starting to get frustrated. The biggest thing I think that a hitting coach can have an impact on is your game plan against a starting pitcher on any given day. Because that's the thing you're going to focus on the most on that day. Because you know for a fact you're facing him for 4, 5, 6 innings. They are not good at hitting starting pitchers. They're bad at it consistently. So I
Yeah,
don't know if it's his fault. I don't know. But I know that he's not fucking helping. That's what I know. So at
I think
some
there's a
point,
lot
something's
of
got to
questions
change
there.
here. And a lot of that also in hitters' meetings, guys like Arenado and Goldie and Wilson, they need to stand up and also take charge of that and say, this is what we need to do. And maybe they're doing it. But at some point, you got to see some results. And I know we're saying this after they've won 2 series in a row, but you cannot have a game where you lose 4-2 in 11 innings and your 2 runs are scored on a safety squeeze and a runner that you get in the 11th inning automatically. That cannot happen. I don't even care if you're the Miami Marlins lineup. How do you not scratch together another run? They had 3 doubles off Jose Quintana. All of them with less than 2 outs didn't score any of those 3 runners.
Yeah,
How does that happen?
The Cardinals offense right now is 28th in batting average, and they are 27th in OPS, and they are last in home runs. So,
The
I
30th in
mean,
home runs?
they're tied for 29th with the White Sox.
Like that can't happen, dude. Why is Nolan Arenado
By
not
the way,
hitting home
Tyler O'Neill
runs?
has 10. The Cardinals
He's
have
been great.
19.
He's been
Cardinals
great.
have
Why
19.
why he walked off the Cubs last night too, which was
I
awesome.
know.
Why isn't Nolan Arenado hitting home runs?
Or Paul Goldschmidt or anybody.
He has 2 at least. Why is Nolan Arenado not hitting home runs? What is it?
Yeah.
Are you old? Is that what it
I
is? Are you not good anymore? Or what are you doing wrong?
Now
Because
we
I'm
do
sorry, it's been
know
a month.
one thing I will say with Goldie is we do know that when that month you rip that calendar off
I don't even
and
care
it gets to
anymore, dude.
May, he usually does get hot in May. So let's kind of
Cool.
wait and see. And I said I will firmly assess the team come the end after Memorial Day weekend because then you have a good rest. Now we talked about the top 35 games, the first 35 games. Where would they be? I said they'd be 16 and 19. I don't remember honestly. I should remember. I don't remember what you said.
I don't
However,
remember
right
either.
now, like we said, where do they stand right now? What did I say that
They're
they were?
14 and 16.
14 and 16. Sorry. So I think that's going to be interesting to see.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what to think here. Like those two have to be better than they are. And here's the thing that I'm kind of get. I think we're at a spot where if they're not better, like they're going to be better than they've been. I think that's fair to say. But if they're not, elite or like maybe even just well above average, maybe they don't have to be elite, then I don't know how much we can blame those guys. Like at that point, you blame the organization for wasting them.
Yeah.
Like you
Let,
had
let
three
me
years of them
let me
to
ask
do
you
something and they
this.
didn't.
And I think my biggest nightmare outside of winning 70 games again, right? My biggest nightmare for this organization, I'm not going to lie, is that we are going to hang within, they're going to trudge all the way through the summer, but they'll still be in contention because nobody in the Central is going to run away with it. And then the concern is they're going to make a small minor move where they deal probably a couple prospects to get a J.A. Happ and a John Lester again. No offense, they
Dude,
were great down the road. But then you're
dude.
stuck with Nolan and Goldie for another year, and we're doing that. We're perpetuating the cycle
Well, Goldie's
for
a
a
free
whole
agent.
nother season. But they're then they if that happens, they're going to extend him. That's my because they're
I
not
don't
going
think
to
they
lose.
will.
Then they're going to have to trade him because they're not going to take a compensation pick for him.
Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, if they're in contention and like legitimately in contention, like let's say within 3 games of either the wild card or the division by the deadline, then they need to make a bigger move than what you're saying. If they don't, it's pathetic. Because at what point do you do like I'm getting pre-mad at something that hasn't happened, but at what point do you say, let's try to win a World Series, dude? What do we do this for? Mo, what do you do it for? Hey, Bill DeWitt, Mo doesn't make any money off this. What do you do it for? What legacy do you want? Because I swear to God, if they are within 3 games of this team, and there's like the Padres are bad right now. If they're really bad again, Dylan Cease might be available again. At what point do you go and make that move? The most obvious move that's been there for 3 years. At what point do you make it? At what point do you go and get somebody that can help you? And screw it. Like maybe go get Mike Trout. I don't know. Maybe you need him now. Maybe the offense isn't that good. But if you're within 3 games, go do something. I don't even care if it doesn't work. I don't even care if we get Ozuna again. I just want them to try to win a World Series.
Let me ask you something, because hindsight is always obviously undefeated in 2020. But in the offseason, the talk was Dylan Cease for Nootbaar or Donovan, and everybody in St. Louis threw a fit and said, no way. Looking back now, a month into the season, do we value guys like Lars Nootbaar and Brendan Donovan and Tommy Edman? Fill in the blank. You can go down the line. Nolan Gorman.
You can't throw Tommy Edman in that.
Okay, Nolan Gorman. That's my guy. You know that. I love him. But are we like at some point we're not getting any better with these guys? Like if you were in the seat again 3 months ago, are you dealing one of those guys for Dylan Cease? Look how well he is pitching. The Cardinals with Cease and Gray would be that's a top.
Their offense would score legitimately 0 runs.
They wouldn't, because Nootbaar and Donovan are not producing anyway. Jordan Walker's probably still on this team.
Donovan brought
They probably have 5 more wins because you got Dylan Cease in the rotation.
Yesterday.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, right? I want to do it. I want it. Like even if so you can't use the benefit of hindsight. I mean, we came with this conversation, but going back there, I have zero problem with how the Cardinals handled that part of their offseason. And honestly, John Mozeliak has had a hell of an offseason so far. Everything he's done has worked out exactly how he wanted it to work out. So we got to give him at least that credit, other than the offense, obviously. But I'm talking about like the moves he's made have been really good. Like the bullpens have been great. I thought they were awesome yesterday. It really sucks that Libby has to wear that one on the chin because, man, he deserved a win there. He was so good yesterday, I thought. Yep. Ryan Fernandez, same way. Everything Mo did this offseason was really good. And, at least so far, we'll see how Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson and those guys continue on. But I want to do it because I still believe in those 3 guys you just named. Like 1 month isn't changing my view of their next 5 years of it, of any of those 3 guys. Like I think, and for those 3, like when you said that they haven't gotten better with them, they have gotten drastically better since those 3 guys came up. Offensively, it's been night and day. Like those 3 guys, Bernie always has this stat, Bernie Miklasz, and it's before those 3 guys got called up, the Cardinals were a bottom 5 team against right-handed pitchers every year. When those 3 guys got called up, they went to top 10 against right-handed pitchers. That's how important having those 3 left-handed. No, Dad, but we're in a month into the season. Like at some point, like I get it, they're 14-16. They're not 10-20. Like so it's fine for now. They got to figure it out. But for now, like being 14-16 is not that big of a deal. You sweep the Tigers, you're a game above 500, and you're in a wild card spot. Like they're in a fine position right now. But I am not going to like throw aside everything I know and believe about those 3 guys over a month. No.
Okay. So if you were to rank Cardinals' strength of roster, Dylan Cease would be 4th behind Nootbaar, Donovan, and Gorman if you had them on your roster.
That's not how it works, dude. You're trading 4 years of a guy that's gonna be in the middle of your order for 1.5 years of a pitcher who, guess what, throws hard, and hard guys that throw hard get Tommy John, and then he's out for the entire time you trade.
I'm not saying that's what I would do looking back. I'm asking you, like, because it's been a big talk lately.
But that's also not how it works, because you'd be trading prospects like Victor Scott and
valid. That's very valid.
And Tekoa Roby and Tink Hintz. Like, no, I'm not making that trade because the Cardinals aren't in a position to do that. If the Cardinals did what they're supposed to do, and by the way, they're pitching in the minor leagues, looks really good right now. Quinn Matthews and some guys are really coming along nicely. Cooper Jerpy. But in this offseason, when we didn't know how those guys would turn out, I just don't think they're in a position with organizational depth to make that move.
I agree with you. I just wanted to get your take on that because I haven't been as much as on Twitter as much, but I've seen that quite a bit. So now let's talk a couple positives here. That back end of the bullpen is absolutely legit right now.
It's like lethal.
Lights out with Romero, Kittredge, and Helsley. And I get really snippy about Ryan Helsley, but he has been insane.
Been awesome.
He's back to Hell's Bells.
He's better than he was.
Well, I also believe it is the addition of what Romero and Kittredge bring, because it does take I don't know. To me, it takes a
He has
little
a
pressure
defined
off.
role now.
Yeah,
He has a
that's what.
defined
Yeah,
role
there
now.
you go.
Like he's
That's a
not going
better.
out there for 4 or 5 outs now, which by the way allows him to be more available. Like I am concerned, and this is something we'll talk about in a second, that they're throwing so often. But those three guys, man, it's over. Like they come in, it's over. You know, I haven't seen a threesome in the back of a bullpen this good since Cardinals bullpen since Segrist, Martinez, and Rosenthal. That one year where they were all three just lights out.
Yeah.
Like that's where they're at right now, and it's the game is over when those guys come in the game. Like the other team's lucky to score one run off of one of the three. So if you're up by more than one, you're winning the game. So yeah, they've been awesome, but this leads to a big problem for me. Is Ryan Helsley has pitched in every game this team has won, and 2 games that they've lost. So on Saturday, and I think Saturday honestly led to them losing on Sunday. On
I do too.
Saturday, like they were up 6-1. I want to
And
say six
Nolan's there,
nothing.
right?
Nolan's air, which whatever, like at some point, like the guy's been awesome defensively. Pick him up, Sonny Gray. Like pick the guy up. He's gonna make an error every once in a while. And then he walks a guy he shouldn't walk. Wilson has a pass ball, and then P. Alonso hits a homer, and then they score 4 runs that inning. Okay, fine. But if you're the offense, dude, score 3 more runs after you score 6 in the first 3 innings and give your team a pad so you can put Ryan Fernandez out there. And then guess what doesn't happen? Matthew Liberatore doesn't have to go 3 2/3 innings yesterday. Like they're not giving their team any cushion late in games. Every game is like, hold your breath, let's see what happens. This offense has to be better. You can like I'm looking around the league, guys, teams are scoring 14 runs, 16 runs. Why can't the Cardinals have a game where they score 10?
They just don't look good at all off it. I mean, it
It's
almost feels like
weird.
everyone coming up is an automatic out. I've never seen anything like it.
Other than
Like,
Wilson,
right. Well, and Mason,
Mason's
who
been
got
great
two
too,
days
yeah.
off in a row this week, by the way.
Which is that's fine. Like if you if he legitimately has a back problem, using the off day
Agreed.
and one of those 2 days, whether it's the last day of the Arizona series, first day of New York, to give him 2 in a row, I think that's kind of smart, honestly, because that's you don't have many opportunities to get 2 days off in a baseball season.
Where do you stand on the Crawford v. Fermin argument right now that has been kind of rampant that I have seen when I've logged in?
I just don't care. They're both bad. Like here's the thing: if Crawford shouldn't be facing left-handed relievers, ever.
Right.
Ever. Like Mason, when I get you one of off day, he could play 2 innings of defense. Like in that situation, in that inning where they had bases loaded, that's another spot right there where if you get somebody, I don't know if Fermin's coming through, but it could be Herrera right in that spot, who's also been struggling. But if you come through with a double there, then once again, you're not using Helsley and JoJo and Kittredge, and you're saving guys for the next day. Where you gotta like Ollie had that thing in 2022 where we were like, he has that killer instinct. If there's a spot like pinch hitting Albert for Donovan in the 4th inning where he hit a grand slam, like have that more. Like you need runs, you need to protect the back of this bullpen because honestly, if they keep going like this, you're not gonna have those three for the entire year. One of those three is going to get overworked and worn down, and either they're not going to be effective or they're going to be hurt. So you got to score more runs, or that's going to happen by June. To
Sure
one
would
of the
be
three.
nice if we had Adam Duvall on this team.
Is he playing well?
I don't know. I just think he'd be playing a lot.
I have no idea.
I think he'd be playing a lot here, is what I'm saying. And we know what that guy can do damage. That's another guy that can do damage in your lineup.
What would you
That's
put
all
him
I'm
in
saying.
center field?
No, I'd move Newt to center field, which we've talked about extensively on here. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Dylan Carlson's on his way back. That's great. I'm excited
that
for
is
that.
good news. That is very good news. Do
I
we have
really
any
hope
news
that he looks good in his rehab
on
starts.
Middleton? Anything there?
Long toss.
Okay, well that's an improvement.
I think they said he's heading towards starting throwing off a mound this week.
Sounds to me like late May, early June, potentially, if everything goes well.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends. Like you could see, like a lot of times this happens where we don't get many updates, and then it's like, oh, he's gone to rehab assignment now,
Right.
and then that's a week. But for him, I don't know. I'm just glad they're taking it slow because you don't need to rush that.
Same.
Like don't rush it, especially with how good Ryan Fernandez and Liberatore look. Like you don't need to rush him back right now.
What did you call him?
Liberatore?
Sounded like Libertoire or something like that.
Oh, my mouth got like full of spit and I stumbled, but thanks for bringing
Okay,
it up.
by the way, we head to Motown tonight, which by the way, I want to try to make that trip next year. I don't know how we do it, but I really want to go to
They won't be there, but
no, I want to go. I just want to go to Detroit and Milwaukee and Minnesota if I can figure out a way to do that. That is on my list of things to do. So anyway, that stadium looks fantastic. But
So
either
big.
way, do what?
It's such a massive
Yeah.
stadium.
Tonight, you've got Matsy versus Mood Maeda. Ah, glasses weren't working well.
Kenta Maeda is his name.
Kenta Maeda. I was like, okay, I've never heard of this guy, but then I was like, oh no, that is Kenta Maeda. So, look, hey, the Tigers 16-12. I mean, that AL Central juggernaut. Do the Guardians still have the best record in Major League Baseball?
I don't know if the Yankees passed them or not with their series win against the Brewers, but those are the top two. Guardians, a lot of fun to watch. Like that team,
Absolutely. Shout
Stephen
out
Vo's
D.
doing a great job.
Shout out D.
The
That's
only
your
problem is
forte.
their pitching really needs to give them more length, or they're going to burn out that bullpen. But their lineup's way
But
better. Josh Naylor's incredible.
Braves are 19-7, Guards are 19-9. So, right
Okay.
there.
Yep.
Um,
Josh Naylor and Jose Ramirez are as good of a 3-4 as you're going to find right now.
if
At
I
this
would have
point.
told you 4 of the 5 teams in the AL Central are above 500 at the end of April, what would you have said?
I that wouldn't surprise me too much. I actually think all four of those teams are. I don't think any of them are great. The Guardians could be. We'll see if they continue this. But I think all of them had a chance to be relevant. All four of those teams.
Any expectations from Steven Matz tonight?
Give us 5 innings of 1 or 2 run baseball, and then get out of the game. Like I get why they did what they did with him, where they moved him along slowly to prevent injury or try to prevent injury. But it has really caused this domino effect of him just being useless after he's thrown like 60 pitches because he's just not built up for it and he's not there. Hopefully he's there now. Like at some point he'll get there, I think. But it's causing like if you're in the 5th inning and he gets into trouble, take him out. Like you gotta have someone ready because when he implodes fast and it's bad. Like bad. Where you're
Yeah.
not winning the game, he just loses you the game. So I don't know what to expect. I think he's the most talented starter on this team, second most behind Sonny Gray. But at some point, like, are you going to be good or are you not?
He's
Because if you're
not.
not every
I
year, then just stop. I'm tired of it.
This is the second year in a row I thought this was going to be the Steven Matz bounce back year, and it has not been. Tomorrow you get the Jack Flaherty revenge game against Gibby.
Yeah, that's a game, dude, where if you're the Cardinals offense, you cannot let him go out there and shove against you.
I
You
agree.
can't. Like he will. He will. Like Monty and Quintana both just shoved against us. So I'm guarantee you Jack Flaherty's going to. But like, gosh, Wilson Contreras is gonna try and hit 5 homers and 1 at bat, I bet, because I don't think him and Jack liked each other very much. But other than that, I don't know. Like, who is it's Kyle Gibson versus Jack Flaherty, so it's an
Yeah,
Orioles matchup, I guess. I don't know
it
what's going to
is.
happen.
Um, I
Gibson's been really good, by the way, lately.
I think you can verify this for the people listening or watching at home. I've been a Kyle Gibson fan for years. I wanted Kyle Gibson here on the Cardinals when he was in Philly, when he was in Texas. Like I've been a Kyle Gibson
You talked him
guy.
up last year too.
I did. Like I have been a Kyle Gibson guy. He just now as he gets older, things change, but he's always just been so consistent for the majority of his career. Um,
Yeah.
Outside of and Brendan Schaefer pointed this out, and I know you can't live in the ifs and ands or buts world. However, it was a great like outside of the bad inning against the Marlins where he got just knocked around. He's been under a 2 ERA
He's
pitcher
been
for the
great.
St. Louis Cardinals. I don't think you can ask anything more. I'm not expecting him to be that guy for the entire year. Please understand, I'm not saying that. But I do think that he probably his mean and median is probably around that 3.5. And if you get a 3.5 ERA out of Kyle
Or
Gibson to a 4,
four,
I agree. I mean, right now he's at a 4.2.
4 to 4.5 is where he'll
He's a
be.
4.2 right now. He could easily be at a 2.2 right now.
Yeah, I think he'll be around a 4.4 to 4.5 because that's where he just always is. Like at some point he is who he is, and he is a 4 ERA pitcher, or more. But I think the reason is he's prone to big innings like that. We saw the Cardinals literally hit 4 home runs in a row off him. Like he's prone to having bad innings. It's
Right.
not like a fluke. But you can say like you can take that out. Not because you can't take it out and say, well, he's been at 2.2. He hasn't been. But you can
Right.
take it out and say the majority of the time he's giving you really good stuff. Like you can.
Right.
Like he's gonna lose you a game every once in a while. It will happen.
Sure.
But when he does, he's gonna also give you 6 innings because he gave you 6 innings that day. So I'll live with that, man. Like I will. Especially he's winning you games. Like I've always heard from people, Kyle Gibson won't lose you games or won't win you games. Bullshit. He's winning us games. He's done it
Yeah,
multiple times.
he
Like
is.
he's lost us one, but he's won us a bunch of them, and he's kept us in every other start. So if you're gonna
We
win me 2, lose me 1, and then keep me in every other start, sign me up.
The other thing I love, and I wish this has always been my thing with Miles, and I'm not judging his character. I would never ever do that. But it does feel like when you have Sonny, Lance, and Kyle Gibson, even to an extent, I think people probably disagree with me, but I've watched a lot of Kyle Gibson starts because I've been a fan of his for so long. I think he went to Mizzou, right? Gibson went to
Yep.
Mizzou, I believe. Right. I'm not a Mizzou
Yep.
guy, but I have been tried to follow his career. Those three guys you feel like give me the fucking ball and let me go. Like it's nice. I mean, I'm
They
not gonna put him in
battle.
the Gray Lynn category, but he's right outside of it. And it's nice to have I wish, and I'm not saying Miles doesn't have it. It's just not his ad. I just wish there was more of that in there, like that
I think he
bulldog.
has it. I do. I think
Like
he
I said, I'm
has it
not
because
gonna
we've
judge
seen
that.
it. I do. Here's the thing. Like we've seen him have it in 2022. I think his stuff is diminished to where he's trying to figure out how to pitch with it the way it is currently. Because if you just look at it, like his slider in 2022, he's throwing it the same way. It's just like moving 3 inches less. So it's spinning over the middle of the plate and they're crushing it. I think he's still trying to figure out how to learn with his diminished stuff. They're not going to say that because that points to aging and just being worse in general. But I just think there's some outings with Miles, somewhere he looks really good, and somewhere it's just like, what is he supposed to do? Like he's throwing strikes and they're crushing it. So I don't know if he has it or not. But I will say to your point, Gibson, Lynn, and Sonny, I love having three guys that when they get into jams, which they won't always get out of, they're going to give up the double that clears the bases every once in a while. But I feel comfortable that they're going to at least minimize the damage. Like last year, if I love Jack Flaherty, we've gone over that so many times on here. But if there's bases loaded, they're scoring 3 or 4 that inning. Like same way with obviously Wayno, which is hindered by injuries and old age. This year, it's not. I don't feel that way. Jake Woodford too, by the way. My God, was he horrible to watch? They've just been there and they've done it. Like yesterday, Lance Lynn was in a spot where there's a runner on second and third with 1 out after a crappy double that blooped in, and then he throws 95-mile-per-hour cutter and strikes somebody out. I haven't seen him hit over 93 this year, but he was angry. He was like, "I'm getting out of the situation," and he just throws it right by Tomas Nido. Like those are things that guys last year didn't know how to do because they hadn't been there enough.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say.
I love the way they compete. That's what I'll say. Like each
Yeah.
pitch, there's not a giveaway. Do you know what I mean? They might get a batter will beat you. That's baseball. That's what makes the game so great.
Mhm.
It's 1-on-1. The guy can get you, but they're making great pitches at big time. Like you said, the 3 signings that Mo had in the offseason, Gray,
good.
Lynn, and Gibby have been incredible.
And we talk a lot about Mo's trades and how bad some of them have been because they have been. But that Amundo Sosa for Romero trade, great. And Palacios has been pretty good with Tampa Bay, but that trade also looks great. Like he's made 2 trades for guys that I think we would all agree were like kind of excess on the roster. They were just kind of hanging on, like they were kind of fat. I guess you need to trim off. And they got 2 back into the bullpen arms for it. Like he's really good at making that trade. Luke Voigt for Gallegos worked out really well. It's just the bigger trades he's been bad at, but the smaller ones he's nailing so far.
Well, I mean, you could argue Goldschmidt and Arenado were pretty good trades, like at the end of it all. Even
Okay,
though
the big trades that aren't the most obvious thing in the world
right,
you
right.
should do.
Yeah, Palacios, I think he's playing about 70% of the games. That's every Tampa Bay guy
He's
outside of like Paredes
guy,
and Yandy Diaz. Like everybody else plays like 70%. Yeah, that's about it. So, and then on Wednesday,
wait, hold on. Did you see that before you move on? Did you see the Rays jerseys that they just revealed?
I have not seen them. No.
So they revealed their City Connect. They have on their pants. It's a Tampa. It's a Ray on a skateboard.
All right.
It's funny looking. Those jerseys are sick. They're glow in the dark.
What do you think the Cardinals City Connect's going to look like?
It's going to say the Lou, obviously. That's so obvious. Well, I keep saying everything's for the Lou this year.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to say that. I don't know. The arch will be on it somewhere, I'm sure. I saw these hats that came out that people are speculating are the City Connect ones, and they have these ugly looking like cotton candy clouds. So I hope that's not the case. But I don't know. I just hope they're not. No red pants, please.
Oh, it's gonna be. It's good. I hate that.
They're moving away from that though. They're moving away from the colored pants.
Can I say that I absolutely hate colored pants in baseball? You know this from when we used to play travel baseball. When you played, I coach. I hate them. They need to be white or gray. That's it. That's it.
I don't like gray jerseys with baby blue jerseys.
They wear white pants like Memphis and Springfield does. It looks awesome.
But then you have to wear them at home.
Fine, wear them at home.
Then they can't wear the cream ones.
You only wear them once a week. You could figure out a way to wear the creams once a week and the blues once a week. You easily could. No,
I like the blue pants.
They're whatever. They're fine.
I mean, they're fine. How can you be a fan of 80s baseball and not like baby blue pants?
I know. I don't love the color. I know the Pirates used to have the black pants back in the day when they were the We Are family. I get all that. I know they've got. I'm just saying. I prefer the white and gray. That's all I'm saying.
I don't like any colored pants besides the baby blue ones.
Okay.
I don't like any of the other ones. Like I hate the green ones the Colorado wore. What the hell was that?
Oh,
like,
those
they finally
were
changed
bad.
that.
They said we're ditching this.
And the Dodgers ditched their ugly blue ones that they had too. So they're ditching those
I will
colored things
say,
that
I
it looks
think
like.
that your baby, I do believe the Cardinals color scheme is going to be red and baby blue. That's what I will say. So the
On the
clouds could be
jerseys.
potential. Yes, that is my guess.
Yeah, well, that's it. Why do we need clouds?
Why is everybody mad at Philly's jersey? Like, do
I
they
don't
not
like it.
understand? I'm not saying I like
It
it,
doesn't feel
but
Philly to me.
well, it's the history is obviously that the Philadelphia flag is blue, so that's why they went blue.
Cool.
So
Why is it
that
so? Why
makes
is it
sense.
electric blue? It's ugly, dude.
I hope that the Cardinals incorporate the Fleur de Lis from the St. Louis Cardinal, from the St. Louis flag,
I've been saying
the
that. Yeah, me
arch,
too.
and the Lou. That's what I'm hoping. That is my number one hope. If they
Yeah.
do that, I will be happy with it, and I will buy one. Let's be honest. Except
I
I
just
hate the
want to.
lettering.
I would be okay if they just made it like St. Louis flag like themed. If that's just what it was, kind
Yeah,
of.
that's what I'm saying. All right. So Wednesday you've got Olson versus Michaelis. Look, let's make our predictions, and I got a couple things around the league, and then we'll get out of here.
All
Um,
right.
let's make our predictions like, at Detroit. Go.
They went 2 out of 3 for the third series win in a row. I
Okay.
don't like the pitching matchups really. I think the Cardinals are at a disadvantage with the three they're throwing out there. But I don't know. Like they beat two solid teams, so beat a third. Like I think they're playing decent baseball right now, despite how angry we were about the offense still being like mediocre almost every day. I think they're playing better. I think their defense has been great. I think the pitching will give them a chance. And at some point, maybe it's right when the calendar turns, which is happening soon, that I think one of Goldie and Nada we're going to go on a streak. I think it's just
Okay.
bound to happen soon.
I think we win one of three simply because I
You
think
said that
that's.
every week.
Hold on. No, I didn't. I picked 2 of 3 against Milwaukee, and we got swept. So let's be honest here. Maybe me picking badly is the
that
way to go. And
that
by the
that
way,
was
I
two
am
days
also
ago.
kicking your ass in all of the picks, so I don't even want to hear from
No,
you
you're
about
not. You're
that
up
at
by
all.
one.
Whoa, that is wrong. I'm
We
up
haven't
way
picked the
more
last
than
two
that.
series. By the way, if we would have picked the last two series, I would have won because they
No, I
won
would
both
I
of
would
them.
have won
But you
because I
took
would
a
have said
week
the same
off.
thing.
You took a week off the way that the week that they're actually good, where I would have won.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
That's
You would,
unfair.
yeah, you wouldn't have picked 2 or 3 against the
And that's
Diamondbacks.
not true. I picked two. I picked that they
You're
were going to
such a
lose 2 or 3
homer.
against Arizona, and I won
You're such
that
a
one.
homer. Anyway, I think here's the reason why. I think 1 of 3, and I think at the end of the 3 games, the Cardinals are ranked 30th in home runs because I just don't see them poking balls out in Detroit in April. I just don't see it. They don't have any. There's no power in this lineup right now. I hope it comes back, but there is none. I mean, there it is a power outage
Well,
with the Cardinals lineup.
they've gotten more power lately. Over I think they did for one day. Never mind.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
gotten more
They
power
have
because they
not.
had none for like a week. I don't know what to think of it. I think the things that you're saying are the reason that I'm a little frustrated about Jordan Walker being sent down because like you need him. You need that guy. You need another above league average bat. And maybe he isn't that this year. Maybe that's true. But my gosh, if he's not up here and he's not like at least we don't have in our minds that he's going to get better and be up here and produce, like you're in trouble, man. Like you're in a lot of trouble if him and Gorman aren't good this year. That's where I'm at. And Gorman's
Yeah.
been better lately. I think he's gonna have. I think he needs to have a big series here. They're facing 3 righties. Is that right?
Yes, 3 righties.
If I'm the Cardinals, I'm batting Gorman third. Nootbaar's moving out of the 3 hole. I'm
Yeah.
batting Gorman third, and I'm saying I need power out of you. Like I need to have someone in the middle of this order that can hit a home run besides
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, Val, I don't see it. Now, you're going to Zach Bryan Thursday night, correct? In
Yep,
St.
I
Louis?
am.
Are you going to any of the games this weekend when the White Sox are in town?
I don't think so. It
So
depends. If they sweep
let's get into
if they
that.
sweep the Tigers, I'll go.
Let's get into that because and we don't spend a ton of time. But Jeremy Shep did a really ESPN's coverage of baseball is trash. So let's start there.
I
But
think they have some really good guys on. I like Jeff Passan a lot. I like Tim
I
Kirkman.
I agree. I agree. It's not.
Kylie McDaniels is good, I think.
Please let me say that it's not the people who work for ESPN's problem. It's the
The network.
programmers, the network. Right. Let me say
Yeah,
that
okay.
because
I agree that
yeah,
I think the
that's
network's bad, but I think the people they
yes.
employ are very good.
100% agreed. 100% agreed. But Jeremy Shep did a thing on the problem with baseball right now. And Jeremy Shep, by the way, massive baseball fan, right? For those of you who don't know, and he always does the sappy stories, great voice, always has, right? But he brought up some really good points, and I want you to address these. So I'm going to lay them all out. And it is a concern as a lifelong baseball fan when you look at the rise
I
of.
didn't get
I
my
mean,
prediction, did I?
yeah, you said they take 2 or 3.
We didn't do our
I
pitchers
don't.
and
Nobody
hitters.
cares about that. Nobody cares about that.
Okay. My
Anyway,
hitter's Nolan Gorman.
okay, good. Um, Now see, now you just threw me right off. I was in a nice little rhythm right there. Okay, so anyway, when you see the NFL draft get 12.5 million viewers, which was, by the way, more than all in our World Series games. It is also more than. Can you hear me okay? Because my microphone just did something weird.
I think your microphone disconnected.
Yeah, I think it did too. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry, my microphone did something weird there. But when you see the NFL, like more viewers than all of the World Series games last year, more than the 4 of the 5 NBA finals, all the Stanley Cup, and every single college football game except one, which I assume was the national championship game.
The NFL
When you
draft.
see that, you see what the NBA playoffs are doing right now. You see what the NHL playoffs are doing right now. Here, the thing that scares you a little bit about baseball, and he outlined this. One, the uniforms are an absolute disaster. The Cardinals aren't going to have their powder blues till June. There's other teams who don't have their alternative jerseys, and they're not going to have them for a while.
The
Obviously,
Phillies
the
don't
sweat,
have their cream ones, I think.
the sweat problems is a whole nightmare.
They're fixing it, they said, though.
Okay, great. You've got, I mean, what we're seeing with Angel Hernandez is absolutely a disaster for the game of Major League Baseball. What we saw with Hunter Wendelstedt was just as bad. The umpire problem is an absolute shit show right now. We see viewership is down, but more importantly, attendance is way down. Now, you can argue
and across the
sport, you can
It's
argue
always like that in April, though, isn't it?
Hold on. It's based off of last April. So it's not based off of mid-July. All the stats are based off of last year at this time. And then you see their blackout problem. You can't watch the Cardinals games in St. Louis right now on almost every platform unless you have Charter? Is that the only one that has Bally right now? And you can't even watch it on the Bally app.
All I'll say is it's like pulling teeth to figure out how to get Bally Sports these days. And it's expensive if you do get it.
With all of this, and you can with all of this, and obviously there's other things I'm probably forgetting right now. Obviously you had the betting scandal with Ohtani. That's whatever. But
that was
with all of this, are you concerned about the state of Major League Baseball right now? I consider myself a diehard baseball fan. I would consider you even a bigger baseball fan at this point in our lives than I am. So it has to be a concern. And Rob Manfred, I don't know what the answer is. The owners aren't going to remove him because he's still making them a ton of money.
He's doing his job.
But how do you view that?
I don't know because what's weird to me about what you're saying is I think the product of Major League Baseball has gotten vastly better in the last 2 years just with the pitch clock alone. Now, injuries and stuff suck, and I think that's more velocity than pitch clock, but I'm sure all of it combines into getting pitchers injured, which needs to be figured out at some level.
That was the other thing he brought up. I knew there was another thing, but it was the injury. Sorry.
Which is a massive issue, like not having I go to games a lot of times, and if I'm going to go to one of the next 3 games, if Spencer Strider's facing off against Sonny Gray, I'm going to that game and not the game before, right? So pitchers play that role because it's the only thing that you're going to get to watch that guy for 5-6 innings, especially when it's a superstar like Garrett Cole, Strider, Zach Gallen, all these guys that are going down with injuries right now, which sucks. But I think as a whole, the pitch clock has made the game way better, which I think they thought was going to get attendance up, and it's not. And I don't understand really why, because I think the product itself is really good right now. I think the players are incredibly talented. And this goes back to just the marketing of the sport's not good enough. Like, why am I seeing Caitlin Clark and, all these incredible athletes every time I turn on TV, but I don't see Acuna. I don't see Aaron Judge.
Bobby Witt Jr. should be everywhere. Everywhere.
Like how many people... If you went up to a random person and said that doesn't watch baseball, and you said, name me 5 baseball players, who are they naming?
Ohtani, Trout.
I don't think they're naming Trout.
That's the other thing.
Really don't.
It took Trout, and I don't know. Again, we don't know I don't know how much these guys want to be in the commercials. That could be part of it too, right? We never know.
They want to make money. I bet they do it.
But with Witt, with Rushman, with Adley, or with Gunnar Henderson, like these young guys should be in every Gatorade commercial.
Julio.
They should be in every Nike, right? Julio, every Nike, every MLB commercial that you see should have multiples of those guys in it. And NHL has a problem with this, and they always have. And back in the day when I was a kid, every commercial that I remember had, it had Cal, it had Ozzy, it had Clemens, it had Dwight Gooden, it had all those guys, all those legends. It had Kirby Puckett, it had Tony Gwynn. They were in commercials all the time. It felt like. Now, again, that was way before you had all these cable channels and you had streaming, so I understand that. But I agree with you, and it concerns me. I mean, I got 2 buddies who text me quite a bit who go to a lot of games. No one is going to Cardinal games. I don't care. I know they report paid, and that's fine. It's half of
Mhm.
what is paid almost every day, almost
Yeah.
every game.
Okay, we've always talked about how cheap bleacher seats are. They've always been when we go, we'll get them the day before or something. And they're like $20 each after fees. You can get in for $10 after
Yep.
fees right now. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And a lot of that's the Cardinals problem on their own I think there's honestly, this is crazy to me. I think Cardinal fans, majority of them are optimistic or have been my entire lifetime. Like they're getting to a pessimistic point right now because of the last 5 years, really. But my entire lifetime had been optimism because they'd seen nothing but winning for the last 20 years.
Thank you, Tony La Russa.
Yeah, and Bill DeWitt for
and
coming in and
and
saving the
and Walt
franchise.
and yep, and Walt Jocketty. Yes,
Yeah,
I
there's a
agree.
lot of people. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mark
I
McGuire,
agree.
for turning the franchise around. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that did
100%.
that. But either way, I think they're getting to a pessimistic point. But I think there's even a disconnect for me with how good the team is and how good the fans seem to think it is. Because I think it's a lot better than fans think it is, and I don't know what to make of it. Because normally I'm like, some people are too high on it, some people are too low on it. It seems like almost everyone's lower than I am on this team, and maybe that's an optimism issue with me. But I think objectively, the front office has had a good offseason to this point. And
Agreed.
fans still hate it. Hate
But
it.
here's what I'll say, and I think I'm going to speak. I'm not going to say this is what I believe, even though partially maybe it is. But I think a lot of the fans see that it was a good off season, but they're still, even with a good off season, they're not even close to sniffing the Braves and the Phillies and the Dodgers. Right? They're
Right.
not
Yeah.
even
They're not.
close.
No,
And
they're
I
not.
think that is now. You can also go back to those are three of the biggest markets in Major League Baseball, right? Now Atlanta's
Yeah.
not, but Atlanta also
Atlanta's
had
a
10
pretty
years.
big market.
Atlanta also had 10 years of terrible baseball to get
Right.
really good draft
And they
picks,
hit
and
on
and
every
they hit
draft
on all
pick.
of them. Right.
Yeah.
So there is that also. So do you want that as a Cardinal fan? I don't. I don't want the next 10
The
years.
Cardinal fans couldn't handle that right now.
Agreed. I agree. And so I think that is also one thing that a lot of Cardinal fans don't engage in. The last thing that Shap said, and I really agree with this one, is the debacle that's happening with the Oakland A's. Like, and we've
Yeah.
talked about it a little bit on here. I just so feel for the Oakland fans. I
I
feel
hate
for the
it.
community. I hate everything about it. But again, that's another mishandling by Manfred and Major League Baseball so badly. And I don't know the answer. I'm not
Can I
proclaiming
ask you
that
a
I know
question?
how it could have been fixed, but it's bad.
Has there ever been another sport that has taken a team out of like a top 10 market, media market in the country and put them in a bottom like 50?
Didn't
Like
NHL
like
just do that?
with Arizona to Utah?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So other than before the A's, I guess I'll say then. And honestly, NHL's like has its own issues where there's just so much wrong with what they're doing at times. So like let's say like basketball, baseball, football. Has there been another team that's another
Yeah.
thing that's done
I mean,
that?
I don't know I mean, the Supersonics went to Oklahoma City. So yeah,
That's the
Seattle
one
to
I was
Oklahoma
thinking as
City.
well. But I don't
Yeah.
know what Seattle's media market. I mean, it's pretty big because they have the whole Pacific Northwest.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, you got
But
Portland up
honestly,
there
I
in the
think them
NBA, and
having Portland
yeah,
hurt them.
and at the
But
time
that one
also
sucked.
at the time you had Vancouver too. So let's not forget that there were three teams within
The Grizzlies weren't still in basketball at that. Vancouver wasn't still there at that
when
time.
Seattle moved. Are you
Seattle
sure?
moved. KD was in the league when Seattle moved.
Are you sure
KD played for
Vancouver
Seattle
wasn't
for a
still
year.
there? I know he did. I'm just saying. I
I'm
thought
pretty sure they were in
Vancouver at
Memphis
that
by that
time was
point.
that was like 17 years ago, dude. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on
When did
that.
they move to Memphis?
I like I said, I could be completely wrong on that. My
I'll look it
timelines are
up.
bad.
Moved to
But either
Memphis.
way,
2001. So yeah, no.
yeah, so
Grizzlies
close
moved there
though.
2001.
Close, right.
Well, like 6 years
But
off.
yeah,
But yeah,
I mean, here's the thing I will say about the NHL, moving them from Phoenix to Salt
I
Lake,
hate that too.
they already have over 30,000 people who have applied for season tickets there.
No, dude, it sucks, man.
I
They would have 30,000 people doing it too if they even had 30,000 seats in the arena they were playing in, or if
well,
they committed it all
no
to
NHL
winning.
arena has 30,000 seats.
Sorry, if they had 18,000, they were playing at a college arena. They
No,
did what the A's did. The A's are doing what they did right now. They're forcing their way out of a city
I
because the owner's
understand
too lazy and too cheap to put any money towards building a new
that.
stadium.
Hold on, that was not my point. My point was them
I
moving to
hate
Salt
it.
Lake City. Salt Lake City, we've seen their support of the Jazz. They're going to support the hockey team. That's all I was saying.
Yeah,
I wasn't making an
I feel bad
I
for
wasn't
Arizona fans though, dude. Like how
and
they have
and
horrible owners.
explain this to me too. Like, and then again, we got off on the beaten path here, but they
That's
gave
fine.
him 5 years for the same owner to bring another team in and do the same. That dude evidently was not paying bills. He was not paying hotels for
Yep.
travel.
It's horrible. Like, what is there a reason that these massive corporations like these sports leagues are so against forcing owners to sell?
it has to be votes to keep those people in power in power. That's the only thing that it's
But
like
I don't
presidents. It's like our
understand
politicians right now.
if
They're
you're
scared to make a
if you're
decision because they don't want to lose power.
I would assume I don't know this because I'm obviously don't know any of these owners, but I would assume Hal Steinbrenner and Steve Cohen, those are probably the two most powerful owners in Major League Baseball, right?
Right.
Just richest, most powerful. They have the biggest pedigree. Those two have to hate John Fisher. They have to hate him because he takes the money that they're giving him from the what's it called when they have to give
Luxury
money to
tax.
the when they go over the luxury tax, they have to get money, but
Yeah.
they also just pay out teams that don't make money, which I still don't get how Oakland's even involved in that when they're making $70 million in media money and giving their team 30. So they're making $40 million straight off the top. But either way, like those two people, they're giving the money that they don't spend. And then now he's moving. Why did the owners approve this move?
And here's my question too. I don't even know that Las Vegas is the answer. Like,
It's not.
you know, I mean, like that is
It's
that's
gonna be
like
so hot.
it not only well, I mean, you're gonna have the retractable roof, which that's fine.
Yeah,
But
sure, they're gonna afford that.
my thing is the stadium's not that big. It's not as big as other stadiums around, but
It's the
also it's Las
smallest in
Vegas.
baseball.
There are 400,000 other things to do. If that team is not great, like you saw the Knights have held on, right?
Because they've been great.
Well, also the only other thing going on in Las Vegas at that time was UNLV basketball. That was it. Now you've
Yeah.
got the Raiders there, but that's only once a week. Baseball is an every night thing in Vegas. Like and I know Las Vegas is a rich baseball city. The Maddoxes are from there,
Yeah.
Bryce Harper's from
Bryce
there are
Harper, yeah.
stars all across
Baseball is
and
big in
also
that area, yeah.
the minor league team has always done well there, as have the Rebels, I think. So but I'm just intrigued to see does that work. That's my argument against Nashville too. Is I'd rather
Yeah.
see them go to a Charlotte or a Portland or somebody like that instead of
Charlotte, I don't know.
Nashville. But I don't know what the answer is
The
on any
thing,
of that.
the thing about what you're saying about Las Vegas, the Knights are so popular because they're so good.
Right.
The first year, they were the first expansion team ever in the history of the NHL in their first year to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. And then they won it last year.
That's wrong. The Blues did that, just so you know.
Oh, they did. So they're the second
Yeah.
then.
Come on, you're
Either
from
way.
St. Louis and a Blues fan. What are we doing?
Was that I wasn't alive. Was that an expansion team?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Either way, they were one of the first to do it. Like that's something that like immediately gets you engaged immediately. And then you have all the Vegas Golden Knights, their home arena is very Vegas. There's all those attractions and the thing comes down from the ceiling and it's very cool and they're very good. If John Fisher doesn't commit to it, which he won't, to spending and getting players there, then I don't know what they're going to do. He keeps saying that they're going to get to $150 million payroll by the time they move to Vegas. Who the hell are you going to convince to go play in a minor league stadium? I don't care how much money you're giving them. You have to overpay by double to get a guy like Corbin Burns to come to your play in your minor leagues.
They're not getting anybody for the next 3 years.
So you're gonna go to Las Vegas with Zach Geloff, who by the way isn't good anymore, as your best player? Is that what you're gonna do?
And every guy who comes up, by the way, everybody who comes up there is going to leave. They're not going to sign an extension, just so you know.
Right, like Zach, like even like the guys right now who have some promise, like Geloff and Noda and Langoliers. By the time they move, they're gonna be getting paid, so they're gonna be they're gonna.
And then what they'll also do is when they move to Vegas, they'll go out and sign about 6 over, like at the end of their careers, names that you know to bring fans in, and they still won't compete. It's a tragic, and that's why I asked you because, like I said, you're probably the biggest baseball fan that I personally know, and I'm a little concerned about the sport right now, especially with the TV stuff. If you can't get fans watching it and they're not going to the games, that's what NHL. That's how NHL ended up on the whatever Discovery Channel or whatever the shit was that one year when they were on that's my concern.
That's also CBA issues. I do think once Bally Sports finally goes into oblivion, because my God, I can't wait for that to happen. For that thing to just be shot into the sun. Like they've been bankrupt for 10 years. I don't know how they're still going. Once that happens, I think it will ultimately be the best thing for the sport when these teams are allowed to do away with blackouts. That's going to be great for the sport. But until that happens, like the problem is all these owners had zero foresight and they sign these long-term deals to where they're just stuck until Bally Sports says they can't pay anymore. Like they're just stuck.
Right, I agree.
It sucks.
I agree.
Like the Padres are getting a lot of more. I read a thing. The Padres are getting way more viewers on their games now because Bally Sports went under they stopped paying them, and now they have this thing that's basically MLB TV, but they're selling to end market customers that can just pay like $20 a month during the season. So you're paying $120 to watch the Padres. Hell yeah, sign me. I'll pay $120 to watch every Cardinal game. Sign me up.
I don't understand the continued blackout restrictions for MLB baseball and those. I know the
It's
travel, and
because
they
of
went.
the end market. It's because of the end market.
If you're in Iowa, Caleb, you can't watch the
Local
Cubs, the
networks.
White Sox, or the Cardinals, or the Royals.
It's a mess. It's the local networks though, Dad, because you want these networks don't want you paying MLB TV. They want you paying them. That's what it is.
But they're
Now,
not showing them,
is there? I mean, they have them. You just have to have what shows them.
which is
That's
like
what it
one
is.
streaming service out there.
It's a mess. Like, I mean, I don't know how the Cubs one works because they have their own network. So I assume you can just pay for the app. I don't know how that works. But for like Bally Sports, it's just a disaster. Like they're just
Does
horribly run.
my
That's what you get for getting in bed with Diamond Sports Group. Everyone knew they were
correct?
corrupt.
My last question for you, and then we can get out of here. Do you know this answer? Can Rob Manfred just wave a magic wand and eliminate the blackouts across the sport? Is that a thing that they can
No.
do? So he can. So really, blaming Manfred is like obviously the contract was done, but
I don't know.
so
I
are we
think
never going to
Selig had
eliminate?
that.
Are
I
we
think
never going
Selig
to
did
eliminate
that.
blackouts? Then I don't understand
I think I
because
don't
I've
know how
heard
this works, but
Passan
I
talk
would
about getting rid
assume
of them.
they're trying to. I would assume that the local networks are the reason that this is happening, and they'd have to come to some sort of agreement with them to let it happen. Because if just think about it this way, like if you're Bally Sports Midwest and you say, I want people paying to watch my programs, so you have to pay for whatever on charter spectrum whatever because they don't even care. I'm on YouTube TV, like, so you have to pay for that. You're getting, I don't know how much money, but a lot of it. And then you don't want people paying for MLB TV because that means you're probably not getting any of that money from end market people. So I don't know how it breaks down, but that has to be the reason, is they just make a lot less money, so they don't want you to show their programs.
They need to get into some sort of, and I don't know how this. I'm not a deal maker, so I don't know this answer. But you've got to figure out a way, like, to get into where the NFL and the NBA have it, to where you're on massive, like, or even on streaming platforms. If you go to, and I know they have a game here, some game there, but that's probably the
Well,
future. I
even
think
NBA has problems too with blackouts.
they do absolutely. They not down here. We don't,
So does the
but
NHL. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, yes, it does. NBA,
NHL is.
you can't watch NBA TV. You can't watch the Pelicans on NBA TV down there.
No, that is true. You are correct. I can only
That's the
watch
same
them on
problem.
Bally's.
You
Yeah,
yeah, it's literally the same thing.
yeah, that's a
So
very good point.
it's a massive issue. I think they're going to figure it out. I think once Bally Sports goes away, it's going to help everything. Like that
Okay,
place is just so poorly run that
all
you just
right.
need to, it needs to go away. And I've heard that after this year, they're done. That they're not paying anyone anymore. But we heard that for like 4 years, so I don't know.
Yep. Had a big weekend, saw a lot of good music. You see some good music coming up. We got Andy Frasco and the Foo Fighters both coming up. And then evidently we're going downtown to try and stalk Dave Grohl, is what I've been told.
That's just creepy. Leave the man alone.
He's
You're
gonna
not
be
supposed to do that in New Orleans.
nah,
New Orleans is
he's
supposed to
gonna
be
no,
about
he's
being
no. I
blending
don't mean
in.
stalk him. That was not I was joking.
What you
My
said.
guess is he ends up at Preservation Jazz Hall because that is his favorite spot, one of his favorite places in the country. And so we will probably be
The
we
fact that
cannot
you
get
know
in.
that's
They're
kind of
already sold
creepy to
out.
me.
We'll be outside listening at the Preservation Jazz Hall for the Foo Fighters.
The fact that you know that's kind of weird.
Well, that's what happens down here. That's what I'm learning as a 504ian is that the Jazz Fest, the stars, after they perform at Jazz Fest, because it's done at 7, they disperse and hit all of the music clubs. John Batiste was at Snug Harbor on Frenchman Street the other night. The Killers did a show at Tipitina's. We were at Tipitina's last night to see a sold out St. Paul and the Broken Bones show. The Killers it holds 800 people. They sold out in 4 seconds. 4 seconds, 800 people. Could you imagine?
I
I
never
saw the
follow.
Killers. I saw the Killers on Friday night. That first of all, only knew a handful of songs. They were incredible. I mean, and there was like 150,000 people there. 800 people at Tipitina's for the Killers on Thursday night.
Yeah. I don't know why they would even do
New
that.
Orleans is different than every place in the country. I don't care what anybody tells me. There's
Yeah,
nothing
they're not
like
doing
this.
that anywhere else.
Nowhere.
Because
Nowhere.
they probably made no money. Like
They hop on their
to
bus
them,
at
they
every
probably just out there.
festival and then leave and then whatever. So these guys are
Yeah.
going everywhere. Marcus King was at the Maple Leaf not too long ago, like at 3 a.m. So wild. What a city. What a city. All right. We will be back Wednesday night, right? For Thursday. We'll be back for Thursday. You got Zach Bryan. I've got who are we going to see Thursday? I don't even remember who. JJ, maybe. JJ Gray. So we've got that. But we will be back to discuss what has happened in Motown and then to preview the series this weekend.
I have a
Who is
question.
against, I should know, but I do not remember. Oh, home against the White Sox.
Chicago. I have a question for you. If the Cardinals win this series against Detroit, and then we'd be like, okay, so they won the series against Arizona, New York, and Detroit. 3 teams that we think are probably, I don't know, like playoff-ish teams. They're going to be in contention most of the year. Those 3 teams, I think. Will you change your tune about how you feel about the team.
No, because I told you I'm not changing my tune one way or the other till June 1st. What I will say though is if they win 2 of 3 or sweep with Matt, Gibson, and
Miles.
Miles, that will be. I mean, I would feel a lot better. Yes, that would
And
tell
that
me that
sets you up really well
that
to
would
come
tell me
home.
that the offense woke up. That's what it would tell me because I don't think
I mean,
outside of
will it?
Gibson.
Because they just won 2 or 3 with I guess
Yeah, but
Miles, Sonny, and
you had
Lance,
Sonny
but
and Lance. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it tells me maybe we outhit them, outslugged them a little bit. So I will feel dramatically better. But I'm dead serious when I say I'm not even going to make an honest assessment on this team until after Memorial Day. I'm just not. I'm not going to get
yeah,
too high or too low because I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them.
it feels important for me for them to win this series because then you come home against a team that you just have to sweep. The White
Yeah,
Sox.
I
That team
agree.
is awful. They just swept the Rays, by the way. I don't know how that
I
happened. The
know.
White Sox did, but yeah, of course we're gonna play them when they're playing their best baseball of the year. The only time they could win, probably. But it feels
Absolutely.
important to win this series, so we'll see. But we'll be
Just
back
feels like
either
you.
way.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree. Well, all right. It was good to be back. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We greatly appreciate you. Once again, if you'd hit that subscribe or that follow button, we would love that. Tell a friend. We will talk to you soon. Go Cards.